Hi, this is Louise Jameson. You're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42. That's right, Mark Who 42. We don't belong to anyone anymore. My name is Mark Baumgarten. I'm your host, and we've got a special show for you today. We are going to talk to Jon Davey, the man behind the monsters in Modern Who. I ran into him at the meet and greet in Orlando last March that I co-sponsored with Hurricane Who. We had him on our show back in 2018. I wanted him back, and we're going to have an in-depth interview with him, hopefully with other monsters of Doctor Who coming up in the next couple of months. But let me, of course, introduce our regular cast of characters. We have
Vicky Jakubowski
and
Juan Sanmiguel.
Let's get into this right now and introduce my friend. Hello, Jon.
Hey there, how you doing?
I am doing great. Jon, before we even start, I didn't realize it was like a couple days before. It was like your birthday when you were in Orlando. It was like the week.
Yeah, it was, ironically, it was the day after we got off the ship for the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we docked on the Friday. I flew out and then went back to my buddy's house in Vegas. And yeah, I've never really celebrated my birthday as such. It's just,
Okay.
yeah, it's all a bit of a fuss. I don't like, drawing too much attention to myself. Hence, possibly that's why I always appear behind a mask on screen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Personally, sir, you should always, if you can, don't work on your birthday. Take the day off.
Yeah, well, it was a Saturday. Well, I'm a big fan of not working. So.
Jon, we had you on back in 2018. I remember when we had you back on 2018, it was really cool because you had played at the time of the recording 42 different monsters and characters on Doctor Who. 42. Mark Who 42. That was a big deal when we had it on the show that we actually worked that out.
Yeah, that was quite a coincidence.
Where are we now? Where are we now?
50. Oh, or been in 50 episodes.
50 episodes, right? Well, no, I meant counting. It wasn't 42 episodes, but anyway. It's good to know that you've got at least 8 more monsters since 60 years ago.
Yeah, still starving myself and still squeezing into a monster costume.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Jon and I got to we kind of bonded at the meet and greet. We share Plex now, which is kind of cool. We share Plex.
Yeah,
that's an important thing.
I'm slowly sort of adding extra stuff. Oh, I just stuck Blackadder on there. I'm not sure whether
Blackadder is always great. Always good.
I haven't got the first series, but to be honest,
you don't have to go on with the sentence. You can stop right there. I got you. I understand that. 100%. I understand that.
Blackadder 2, 3, and 4 is probably some of the best TV ever made in Britain. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, last year you were doing War Between Land and the Sea.
Yeah, or it was actually the year before.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it came out. Well, actually, and that's funny because in America it hasn't come out.
Yeah.
And I have been saying for the last year, I don't think it will come out on Disney Plus. I think, and I over exaggerate, but I call it the Batgirl of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're going to make money off of a tax write-off because it has been shown in England and it is released on DVD and Blu-ray and things. But I don't think Disney's ever streaming it.
Well, it's difficult to understand with streaming services what they class as making money from a show.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's if for example it goes out in the theater or on commercial television, you can make money from viewing figures, advertising revenue, that type of thing. So, and I know it's happened with quite a few things. There was the Roadrunner movie as well that got caught up in some sort of
I saw a
nonsense.
trailer for it. It's coming out in a couple months.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
so that happened years ago.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes, again, it's show business is a business. If
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody invests, X amount of money and they're going to recoup a sum of money which classes at a loss, if you can the project, I don't know if it classes as a tax write-off or something like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand when things like that happen, because if you imagine you've emptied your bank account of every bit of money you had,
Right.
you would all of a sudden go, well, it would be cool to see this, but I'm going to be broke. So
Yeah.
um but unfortunately, all the decisions should have been made beforehand, that it
Yeah.
almost would have been guaranteed a hit. However, the brilliant series on Netflix, The Movies That Made Us,
Hmm.
pretty
Okay.
much all of those films were massive hits, but in the documentary they were basically going, yeah, Home Alone got shut down.
Hmm.
A new studio head
Yeah.
took over. Ghostbusters,
Oh yeah.
Halloween, Dirty Dancing. Everybody, or not everybody, but normally the people higher up with the money all thought it wasn't going to make money. So, yeah, it's a funny old
It is a
business.
Yeah.
downside to the industry that it's weird when you listen to either actors or stories that have been passed on, and when they finally get made and they're huge, and it's like, if it doesn't fit this box, I'm
Yeah,
not going to invest my money. The upside to the studio system, and there's not many of them, but back when we had the studio system here in America, they took more risks because they were putting out so much product that if
yeah,
something failed, they were like, oh, that's okay, we got 5 million other things. And there was a lot of things to be said for the risk taking that early Warner Brothers and MGM all took. United Artists, I mean, they were groundbreaking. And as time went on, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to take that risk.
Yeah.
It's like, my goodness, take a risk. And there are so many things that become, cult classics years later, and everyone knows it and everyone quotes it. And you just look at these producers and you go, you throw money after one thing, and a big budget does not guarantee a good film. And I
No, it
like a
yeah,
good
doesn't.
big budget film, but I also like the ones, I mean, perfect example is Our Town, which as a play is about as minimalist as you can get,
Yeah.
but it is one of the most produced plays throughout the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world because it's very Americana, but I mean, it's got virtually no set, very little costumes. It's just good words and good acting.
yeah.
And yet it constantly gets done. And I think that sometimes they forget that. They forget that if it's not going to be the next blockbuster, if it's not going to be the next Avatar, they're just not going to do it. And it's a shame because
Yeah.
I think we're missing out on an awful lot of content.
Yeah. But also as well, the other issue is that because there's lots of other places to get your content from, um, uh, you know, uh, people don't go to cinema as much, the
True.
theaters
Right.
True.
anymore, unless it's something. Well, it might work in its advantage unless it's something worthy of seeing on a big screen. So, last
Yeah.
film I saw was Hail Mary Project, which I made a point of seeing that on the big screen. Big epic um, movies.
Mhm.
deserve the big screen. So
Yeah.
it's kind of even harks back to like when they did CinemaScope, because they were
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, we need something
The
that
one,
no
yeah.
one can see elsewhere.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
hopefully, yeah, I think things might change, but yeah, basically because yeah, there's so many places that you can watch stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It obviously kind of waters it down and has to sort of change how things are made and where people want to invest their money.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, War Between Land and Sea. We got to see it. The three of us
Yes.
that are talking to you now have gotten to see it.
Yeah.
It is really good. That was really good. And you were definitely in it, not just in makeup. Your face was in there. You were in there.
Yeah, so I got an email from my agent saying, um, oh, we're looking for a load of unit soldiers, all these dates, and the code word was TWB. So if I refer to it as TWB, that's what it was, the
Yeah,
war
the War
between.
Between. Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, the title's quite long, so
Yes.
It
they had
is. It
they
is.
had to have an acronym. Then they said, we're looking for two people to be continuity that are going to Spain, and obviously that went out to everybody as well. So everybody was all excited.
Yeah.
Um, I then got recommended or asked. I would have hopefully have thought it was because of my previous work, and also it was
Yeah.
basically we were going to be with the main cast. So there are, yeah, I don't know, certain characters around that might not be able to um, hold themselves with decorum.
Hmm.
As well as other people. So myself and another guy, Colin, who had basically worked with the people that worked on production before,
Okay.
were selected because they basically wanted to like send people that they knew would be able to take direction easily and not kind of overstep their mark. So that was great. We did some more shooting, but literally the week before we left, which was the scene in the big room with all the generals and all of that going on. I then kind of announced it to my other friends there that I was going, and they were um, obviously they were very supportive of me that I was going and not them. So so we flew out to Mallorca, a Spanish island in the Mediterranean. It was very convenient. Went from my local airport, Bristol Airport, as well, which is only 10 minutes from my house. So that was quite nice. We stayed in a very nice hotel. Basically the crew pretty much took over a hotel. And previous to that, yeah, we did shoot the scenes of us walking on the airfield and getting into the private jet.
Hmm.
So I'll try not and release too many spoilers if it's spoilery.
And that's a good point. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of people may not have seen it yet that we're talking
But
yeah,
about this. Yeah.
unfortunately, for better or for worse, I think the hardcore American fan has seen it. I think it's just
yeah,
Well,
that.
yeah,
That's
it's called.
true.
Yeah, there are
They have
three
found their
letters
ways.
there are three letters in the alphabet that probably explain how that happened.
yeah. Um, so the scene on the airfield was shot at St. Athan's military base, or sort of ex-military base now,
Hmm.
which we have used a whole bunch of times in the past. They filmed A Good Man Goes to War in there,
Hmm.
in a huge giant hangar. Children of Earth as well.
Okay.
That was shot
Ah,
there. Yeah, there's probably a whole bunch of episodes from Doctor Who. The plane wasn't real. They did a great job of basically sticking up two lighting stands for reference, front and back, and putting a CGI plane in there. And the interior was actually a real jet, but it was just the fuselage that was on the back of a trailer.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so basically it was like, like these influencer, I'm on a jet.
Yes.
It was kind of like that, really. Um, so that was so that was quite interesting. Interesting doing that. It's very cramped from what I remember. So we flew off to Mallorca. The Let me try and think which bits we did first. So there was a scene where we were kind of walking along the cliff top, and then they kind of beam this signal out where with Colin McFarlane that played the general. So that was pretty neat. And then there was the very first night was the scene on the beach, the I'd say first contact scene.
Okay, yeah.
So that was amazing, because we just turned up to this beach and it literally looked like something from a James Bond movie. You couldn't even drive a vehicle down there. You had to walk down a really steep road and then down a bunch of steps. I still can't quite work out how they actually got all those shipping containers and all the stuff down there. And it was a night shoot, and the weather was probably slightly different from when they recce'd it, because the waves were quite choppy. And the guys that played the Homo Aqueous had to sort of stand out in the water. Now, normally the Mediterranean is quite calm because it's practically landlocked.
Yeah.
But those guys were stood with these kind of waves kind of licking up kind of quite high. Then in the distance, we kind of saw some flashes of lightning. And then I did my old Boy Scout trick of counting the seconds from the lightning to the thunder. And it was like, oh yeah, that's 10. Yeah, that's 8. Yeah, that's 7. Yeah, that's 5. And then all of a sudden, it was literally from horizon to horizon, fault lightning directly over us. So they had to kind of evacuate everyone, and we all kind of huddled around in a tent. Whilst there were some downpours, some classic Spanish showers that seems to dump water intensely for about 3 minutes and then stop. So we finished the rest of that scene, which was really cool. Then, as I said, we did the scene across the cliff top, and then we did the other scene where Barclay and I can't remember her name, Fran, were sort of having a conversation. Fran and Russell Tovey.
Right.
And that was just a really cool little kind of out of the way fishing village that just had this really beautiful kind of little, I don't know, 20-25 foot drop off limestone cliff. So we did a whole bunch of stuff there, which was really nice. We had a day off as well later on in the week, which was quite nice. So me and Colin hired a rental car, which was in terrible condition. The dashboard looked like a Christmas tree. Every single warning light was flashing. There were scratches all around it. So I did the thing that you do. You then a photograph will film the outside of your vehicle. So we went off and we had a really nice day by the beach. Then the next day we travelled to the other side of the island, which was probably a 2 hour 2 hour car ride. We literally had to kind of wind our way all the way up a mountain, then wind our way all the way back down. And we were on a beach. It was the scene where they get in the helicopter. The helicopter drops them off on the beach, but we didn't actually see any of the cast members on the beach. They actually filmed an entire scene there, which was cut. So, so I'll have to re-watch it because I think there's a little bit of dialogue as the helicopter's flying. So I don't know whether that dialogue replaced the entire scene, which was on the beach. It was just a little bit of, sneaky exposition so that, whatever was said on the beach was kind of explained. But that beach was fantastic. It was in the middle of a valley. You see it, the actual the fake helicopter flying down this valley, which was real. But that scene was, or that location was literally only authorized that week. I
Wow.
think if you watch the DVD extras, the producer, he basically said, and this is a classic TV and film line, "We lost the location," which always makes me laugh. It's like, where did you lose it? Down the back of the couch?
There you go. That's where it went.
So they had to find somewhere else. So they found this place, and it looked stunning. The only way to get to it is through a person-size hole that kind of cuts through the mountain.
Right.
So everything had to be taken through this,
Oh
8 foot.
Wow.
Well, 8
How did they
foot
do
hole.
that?
Well, they literally just pulled everything on wheels, and then it gets left on the cutting room floor. There are also members of the public there as well, so we had to kind of shoot around them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty neat. And then obviously we did the scene where they get into the helicopter to take up. So there's a kind of like Magnificent Seven style shot where we're all walking across to the helicopter. And then they kind of realize, they're like, well, there's only 5 seats in the helicopter and there's 7 of you.
Oh no.
How are you supposed to then
This will not
reappear?
end well.
Wow.
So they're like, oh yeah, well, it will just be the second helicopter. So that was a fantastic experience. Obviously, I have to say that the cast and crew weren't spending every single night in a karaoke bar.
Oh.
Which obviously I didn't go to. But I was sensible because I don't drink alcohol anymore. It gets more and more unfun as people are having fun.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yes.
So I was kind of in bed by 10 o'clock every night because we had to get up at 6 in the morning. So I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed every day when we were over there. Then we did a whole bunch of scenes in that big room with Sol, addressing everybody, which was really cool. But the thing was, I appear in it, but because I'm kind of established in all the stuff in Mallorca, they kind of had to just push me as far away in the background so you can't recognize us. The thing is, though, if you're wearing like a helmet and you're clean shaven, it's very difficult to identify people anyway.
Exactly.
And when if you're wearing like a Cybermen helmet, that would work the same way.
Oh yeah,
same incognito via yeah.
Hey John, question: does that change? Was that a change when television went to high def, or is that just a usual thing?
It's basically the main, the way I look at it, the main point of your job on a TV and movie set is to not make a mistake. And if somebody kind of goes, hold on a minute, I've already seen that face in a different scene, in a different location. Whoever was in charge of putting or booking that person will get in trouble. So, so even though, I know people that have been on things where they've been a dot in the background, they've not been allowed to then shoot again on the show. Albeit my face has been seen God knows how many times throughout the years.
You don't want to be seen in the same episode as two different
Yeah.
characters if you look exactly the same, unless
Yeah.
they have said, "Oh, it's my twin." That
Yeah.
they establish that your character has a twin, then maybe that could
Yeah.
work. I don't know.
And then there was one other scene that was really nice. Again, avoiding spoilers. It was the scene where you've got the truck by the Thames with Russell
Okay, I know it's
Tovey. Yeah, Russell Tovey jumping into the truck.
Yeah.
That was filmed in my hometown of Bristol,
Oh.
not London. So they did a very
Right.
nice kind of CGI job. It's quite interesting looking back because I can kind of just see like the cut line of like, right, everything on the other side of the water is not real, and they kind of comped London in the background. So that was that was shot over a day, I think. Was it a day? No, 2 days, I think. So that was quite nice as well because I didn't have to do a 100-mile round trip, which I normally have to do every time I go to Cardiff.
Yeah.
Oh.
And when we talk to you in a few number of months, I definitely want to talk about the Cardiff transport back and forth and how that affected your life and how easy or hard it was. But I did want to bring something up. And I'm doing this. Dan Harris has no idea that I'm doing this right now. Just to let you know, Jen. The cruise. You were just on a cruise, the Doctor Who cruise, right? Next year, you're going again?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And tell everyone about how the cruise goes. Talk a little about the cruise, because I was on the very first one back in 1988, and I think I have talked about it before. But yeah, talk about your experience, because I want people to possibly go to sci-fi-cruise.com and possibly go on this. Tell them about it.
Yeah, so the first cruise I went on was, I want to say, was it 2018 or 2019? That was from Seattle, Astoria, San Francisco, and then Victoria up in Canada. So to this point, I'd never been on a cruise ship before. So I went with Tim Dane Reed as well. I think Tim had been on a cruise ship, but as soon as I got on there, I was like, oh my God, this thing is unbelievable. So I was kind of running all over the cruise ship going, oh my God, look, they got this and they got that and they got this. So I was kind of like a 10-year-old kid, I guess, for the first time of them experiencing something like that. But yeah, basically it's like going on a cruise with a bunch of people, but there also happens to be people that have been in Doctor Who on the cruise as well. So I think it's quite nice from a fan's perspective because, if you go to a con, there's very limited time that you can get with the people that have been on the show. I know probably, bigger conventions like Gallifrey or LI Who or Chicago TARDIS. Obviously, there's downtime as well on the evenings, but yeah, basically, it's basically just going on a cruise, but you just happen to be hanging out with us lot.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when I was on it, it was really fun. I spent a week with Sylvester. A week with Nick Courtney. The cruise, I think, is going out of Port Canaveral next year, if I'm correct, which is where you came in for the meet and greet this year.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I've already been to Port Canaveral on a different cruise, so I did the whole, NASA tour thing before. So anyone that obviously is going and hasn't been to NASA is it's definitely worth doing.
Absolutely worth the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also as well, when we did it, we were there from 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the evening, and it still wasn't quite enough. So yeah, next year when I go back, there was one whole facility that I didn't even have time to go in. But yeah, again, I was blown away by that whole experience, which was really neat.
And like I said, guys, if you're interested in it, it's sci-fi-cruise.com. It's going to be the 1st to the 9th of May of next year, 2027, out of Port Canaveral to San Juan, Dominican Republic, the San Martin, and St. Thomas. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a fun cruise, and the monsters are back. That's what I hear.
Nice.
And it's a Torchwood anniversary cruise. So Gareth David Lloyd is confirmed. Ianto is going, and there'll be a few other people. So, I mean, it's really cool. And like I said, the monsters are going to be back there. I think the monsters are going to be back on Mark Who 42. John, do you think you could come back and maybe we'll get all the different monsters from Doctor Who and come on and just like do a monster takeover?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure the guys will be definitely up for it.
Definitely. I want to thank you so much for taking just about a half hour to 45 minutes to spend some time with us. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, not a problem.
On behalf of myself, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and Juan Sanmiguel, so long, and we'll see you next time here on Mark Who 42. You've been listening to Mark Who 42. Your hosts, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, Juan Sanmiguel, and Zion Quiros. If you'd like to leave a comment for us, please email us at markwho42.42@gmail.com. Mark Who 42's Universe is produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Copyright 2026.